Chapter 10 Treatment of Anomaly Disease. Qin Hao did not force Su Xue to remove all clothes, he had begun to place needles. He was not focused enough, attracted to other things, and so he did not use his strength precisely. However, after seeing Su Xue's tightly furrowed brows, he immediately changed his state of mind, and the following acupuncture was much more precise. Su Xue also did not feel any more pain. As the treatment progressed, the silver needles started to spin slowly. Su Xue's initially nervous heart started to slowly calm down, and the muscles started to feel a comfortable feeling. Each of the needles was like a tiny electric current, activating her previously shriveled blood vessels and muscles. Gradually, Su Xue immersed herself in the comfortable treatment, and the hand holding on to her pants loosened unconsciously. If Qin Hao really wanted to do it to her, it would be a piece of cake for him, but unfortunately, he could not do this. Just like what he said, it would not only be a failure, but also aggravate the disease. Qin Hao became more and more proficient during the treatment. The silver needles in his hands slowly rotated between the Tanzong acupoint, Danchai acupoint, Zhongwen acupoint, Shenkeng acupoint, and Yingchuang acupoint. 1 minute passed. 10 minutes passed. Half an hour later, Qin Hao finally heaved a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Acupuncture was end. This was his second time using needles, and it took him a half an hour, almost made his hands and feet go numb. Su Xue could feel needles were pulled at her body one by one, and at this moment, she was actually reluctant to part with them, and wanted Qin Hao to treat her longer. "Is it over?" she asked softly. "Not yet," Qin Hao answered, and had already put all the silver needles back into the leather pouch. Joy rose up in Su Xue's heart, and she prepared to welcome Qin Hao using the needles again. However, what she received was not needles, but 2 large hands. This caused her to be greatly shocked and humiliated at the same time. "What are you doing?" She suddenly opened her eyes and saw Qin Hao's pig claws massaging at the place that was extremely embarrassing. She screamed as she used both hands to prop herself up. Suddenly, Qin Hao used some force on his fingers, and a wave of spirit strength entered her chest. This electric current was even more powerful, causing her body to tremble. All of the pores on her body opened up, happily absorbing the air outside. "Ah!" Su Xue couldn't help but let out a sound, and her body went limp as she collapsed onto the ground. This time, the feeling was even stronger than before. She felt as if she was floating. Ah! Qin Hao was sweating profusely. It was not because of the treatment, but the misery. Fire was burning in his body, suppressed by him. It was already enough to make him feel miserable, and now, Su Xue was making such sounds. It was simply killing him. "Teacher Su, can you not make such?" In order to make the treatment to continue, Qin Hao could only plead. Being reminded of this, Su Xue realized that she had lost control of herself and anxiously stopped her moaning. But she was in pain, she just wished Qin Hao to be a beast. It was unknown what Qin Hao would think if he knew what she was thinking, but he clearly knew that he couldn't do anything out of line. Otherwise, his efforts would really be in vain, even gods could not cure her. There was also the most important problem that Qin Hao did not mention. With this strange disease, patient must not have sex during the treatment and recovering. Otherwise, the consequences would be even more severe than failure, and it would cause the spirit chi that was being injected into her body to go into chaos, which would end up endangering her life. In any case, Su Xue did not have a boyfriend, and with her personality, she would not casually do it with any other man, so Qin Hao was too lazy to explain. If he did not tell her about it, there was another benefit to it: let Su Xue find out his great character. He did not take advantage of others and did not kneel down in front of her. After another half an hour, the treatment was finally over. Once he was done, Qin Hao jumped off the bed, opened the door and ran away, as if he was caught when he raped her. When Su Xue opened her eyes, she discovered the fleeing Qin Hao and couldn't help but be startled. Why did he run? In her confusion, she lowered her head to look. Her face immediately became as red as if she had drank 2 big bowls of alcohol. Right now, her appearance was enough to make countless gentlemen become beasts, but what was strange was that even though Qin Hao hadn't transformed into a beast, and escaped. How did this happen? Could it be that he was the legendary true gentleman? Or was there a problem with him that he couldn't be a normal man? Qin Hao was obviously a normal man. At this point of time, he had already escaped back to his place and rushed into the bathroom to turn on the water tap. Cold water splashed on his face, quickly cooling him down. FCK, this was simply torture. Luckily he escaped quickly. If he really couldn't bear it and did it to her, he would have a great time, but she would have perished. FCK, what kind of strange disease was this? Too strange. This time, he held himself back, but what about next time? There were still 6 days left to the treatment. Heavens! Do you see how much I have suffered in order to save the dying and help the wounded? If anyone heard this, they would definitely give him 2 slaps. Suffering? You watched and touched, let me suffer as well. If it really didn't work, let me have a look. His clothes were also drenched in sweat. Qin Hao helplessly took a bath and changed his clothes. He didn't have much clothes, and it was hard to tell how many days his dirty clothes had been in the bucket, so he had to put on a shirt that was old enough to turn gray. This shirt was originally going to be thrown away, but now only it was clean, so he decided to wear it. For the next 6 days, Qin Hao went to Su Xue's room to suffer once a day. After the last day of treatment, when Qin Hao was about to run away as usual, Su Xue, who seemed as if she was already prepared, quickly grabbed him. Qin Hao, don't leave yet, I have something to give you. In the past, she would always add the word student before his name, but now that the word had been removed, her feelings for Qin Hao were slowly changing. Qin Hao turned back. Teacher, you, he wanted to say something, but in the end he raised his head in a hurry without saying anything, because there was a warm flow coming from his nose. It was a nosebleed, and he had to raise his head back. The heck, he was about to be killed. It was all because of Su Xue's 2 big white things. Yes, Tha became big and white again. Not only did she regain her former grace, she was even better. D cup was about to turn into E cup, now she felt that it was bulging in her D cup bra. This was definitely the breast that could instantly kill countless males. Teacher, do you need anything? If not, I will be leaving now. Qin Hao's expression was in pain as he replied. He was really worried that he would not be able to hold it in any longer. Oh, wait a moment. Su Xue regained her senses. Without wearing any clothes, she got off the bed, without fearing that Qin Hao would not be able to control himself and deal with her. Not be able to control